Just checking in. Are you Bradley? Are you on the forum account for speaking
Yeah,
today?
yes, it's me
Okay,
on Forum. How are you doing?
awesome. I'm good. How are you?
Amazing. Super glad to be
Good,
here.
good. Glad to have you as well. For those listening, thank you for taking the time to join us as well. For those that listen back to this later on, of course, thank you guys also. Appreciate you taking the time to tune in. You guys, obviously, a lot of you know me very well as I do speak for probably like 98% of these. Today, we will be joined by Form. We're going to talk a little bit about SocialFi, Layer 2 ecosystem. Interesting stuff. A medley of different things here we'll go into. Of course, we have Bradley joining us on the Form account. And without further ado, let's just kind of go ahead and dive into it. So, Bradley, let's start with just a quick intro to yourself to begin, and then a bit of your background.
Yeah, I've been in crypto for a while. Kind of feel like a grandpa. For those that go way back, I was the fifth hire at CoinDesk, and my job. This is in like
Oh, wow.
2016, and my job was to put together the state of blockchain report. So you guys, like, looking at what's happening at the end of a quarter. I was writing these 100-page reports, just breaking down everything that happened. Some like super OGs know me from that time, and so my first real big report was like during the Ethereum hard fork with Ethereum Classic, and my job was to figure out if this was a big deal. And I said it wouldn't be a big deal, and a lot of people read that, and then I just looked deeper and deeper and deeper into Ethereum, and realized that I was really into the creator economy at that time, and realized that there's going to be something here that's uniquely possible, where everyone may have their own currency, and it's not going to be like PayPal that creates it, or Facebook, because that Snapchat won't use it, or Twitter. It's going to be a new company, and just had a shiny idea that I was in a pretty good position as someone that was a researcher to really build this and understand it. So just set off, and this became a project called Roll, which is still sort of the umbrella organization that incubated Form. And we kind of evolved into a social file too. Long story short.
Yeah, no, I that's a long history. 2016 CoinDesk is that's a wild one. Yeah, considering look like when I sort of got into it, when it was like 2019 ish. At that point, like you were already like 3 years behind. Like I was hearing about these things like ancient history, right? So, but no, that's pretty cool. And so that kind of leads me to this. Makes it an easy transition to the next question. Would you mind just also giving us kind of a bit of a intro, maybe to the rest of the team behind Form as well? Were you always a builder yourself, or did you need to kind of recruit an elite team to help you work on this?
Yeah, no, we definitely recruited just a team from across a lot of applications. So we had folks that were sort of working on some of the crypto stuff at PayPal, and then we had people that were kind of pretty deep in on the social side. But more so, the background of myself and my co-founder Sid is just kind of being in crypto for a really long time as fans, and then we decided to create a Roll, the company that incubated Form at around like 2018.
Wow, very cool. I feel like if when you're in for long enough, you either uh, you start to work or you just become like a degen, and like that's the two paths pretty much um, that I've seen in particular. It's like I've been here long enough, I should build something. So it just inspires you, right? I think is the most simple form. You see so many creative people doing so many different interesting things that are, in a sense, like paving the way for so many new pieces of technology and pathways. And I think SocialFi in particular is a really interesting one, and how that kind of mixes together we'll go into obviously now. So let's just go ahead and get kind of your best initial intro to Form for those that don't know, what Form is, what it means for SocialFi and L2s.
Yeah, so we've just been really big fans of. So for those that don't know, I'm the founder of Roll. So Roll most popularly introduced social tokens as a concept in 2019. Our most popular tokens are like friends with benefits, There's a token from a great creator called Whale Shark called Whale Token. If you guys know a creator, Alex Messmej, is a token called Alex on Roll. And so we've been really big fans of like the creator space and also folks that have created blockchains over the years. So folks like, Chili's, really specializing in fan tokens, Immutable, specializing in games, Flow, you could even say specializing in like commercial NFTs. And so we really got excited about how specialized these chains were. And we consider them different from chains that kind of want to do everything. Chains like Base or Optimism or Arbitrum, where the optionality is kind of everywhere. And so as SocialFi emerged, really last year, SocialFi is actually less than a year old. With FriendTech, we looked at that space really deeply. We talked to a lot of the founders, we talked to a lot of the users, and we saw something really interesting that we didn't see in SocialFi, that we saw in social tokens. And so what we saw was there was no interoperability in the space. So what that means is the bonding curve token that you would have with your FriendTech token is not an ERC20, right? So if someone created FriendTech and someone created this like Twitter SocialFi app or something, that your FriendTech token could not be used on your Twitter SocialFi app. And so for us, we saw this as a road to nowhere. How can a space grow, especially in crypto, if it's not interoperable? So we looked at that problem and we decided to solve it. And so the first thing we did is we created a set of smart contracts that allow these simple bonding curve tokens that are familiar on FriendTech to actually convert into ERC20s. And the important thing here is now, as a thought experiment, people can now dream and understand that their little bonding curve token can now actually one day maybe get listed on OKX or Binance. That path is at least viable and conceivable. Also, your token that's on one application is not siloed to that platform's demands or changes or lack of growth or growth, right? So now all of a sudden, the SocialFi application that you're using, you could take that token out, and maybe there's a lot of opportunities on this other SocialFi platform that specializes in streaming or groups or kind of any other social thing that's emerging. And so we thought that was really important. The idea here is almost that, SocialFi, like as a concept over the next couple of years, it's less than a year old, it's a baby, is going to demand interoperability. And we've just spent so many brain cycles, on social tokens as a concept, and we've learned so much just building on ETH-L1, the learnings there, that we just clearly see that this needs to be interoperable. It's almost like, guys, if we could almost compare this to like DeFi, if there was a world in which your Uniswap tokens didn't work on PancakeSwap. That's kind of like the state of SocialFi that we see right now. So Form's whole job as an ecosystem is to evolve this. And so we're creating a whole interoperable SocialFi ecosystem with many different platforms that'll kind of grow the category for years to come.
Yeah, I like your explanation was really solid, actually. It's a really interesting place where we're at right now, just due to, I would also say, the current landscape of social platforms. And I would say kind of where a lot of the activity funnels. And I think that over the last year, a big part of an increase in, I would say, excitement and thought around this is a lot of people kind of being unhappy with the current social landscape, I would say. A lot of people, as the years go by, have kind of become, through this like age of internet technology and everybody being online, I think have just gotten to this place of being more aware that these things may be, not work right, or, why is this doing this? Why does this have my information, et cetera? People are starting to think more and realize this as well, especially in the landscape of earning on social media, right? So having this start now, I think, is a really interesting piece and kind of leads me into my next question for you. I had two questions here. I'll go into this one first, but on the main page, the form vision, right? And now I kind of get where you're going with this on the main page as well. Formal advanced Ethereum by bringing 50 million users to the SocialFi space by 2030, right? That's a pretty big number, I would say. It's a tough space. It's a tough space to do it in, I would say. Where do you feel that in particular, we're going to hit that number? Do you think there's one specific area that we really need to excel in, or is it just an amalgamation of different pieces that need to come together? Or do you know that, like, maybe you guys feel like you have the special secret to this at this point?
Well, yeah. We're very excited, and we have a very bold vision that we just wanted to put forth and inspire others. And there's so much happening behind the scenes. I can't wait to share it with you guys. But yeah, I think from a first principles level, we can back out to like what we know to be true about SocialFi. So here's how we would define SocialFi. So we would define SocialFi as a bonding curve that represents the product market fit between a creator and their community. So like from this perspective, our job isn't really to grow social platforms. Our job is really to integrate bonding curves into online communities. And so we think there's enough online communities in the next 5 years that will want to integrate bonding curves because it will make economic sense, right? Compared to just having compared to just having 1 million followers on a platform, or so some other subscription model. We think a financialized model of being online will be the bonding curve. So we can see ourselves integrating bonding curves. You can think of like a bonding curve, an interoperable bonding curve SDK that can be plugged into many different platforms where many different online communities can use. And we think this is a massive opportunity and something really people really haven't thought of with SocialFi. I'd say the main innovations, aside from form, that we've seen with SocialFi are really on the consumer level, right? So there's a cool platform called ChainChat, which was like, hey, now you can create a group, right? So now a person can have like n different groups with bonding curves. But if the innovations are on the contract side, all of a sudden we can start to see different sorts of like developer tooling that can really just integrate bonding curves directly into Twitter or like directly into YouTube, Twitch. And so this is like the under the hood vision of where we're going with Forum and some of our projects.
Very interesting. I like your look at the state of where it's at. I think that the initial thought for a lot of people is, oh, can we just make the better social platform and that'll be it? But no, I think you're right. At the end of the day, not a lot of people are thinking about the the background side of this. This is a very interesting piece. And now you mentioned as well a few times, obviously, the interoperability of it. Would you say that this is, Form's kind of main standout feature, or is there any other pieces of Form when it comes to this, back-end stuff that you would say make it stand out in an area of L2s?
Yeah, I'd say interoperability is really the kind of key idea here, but there's also a lot more. I'm kind of an economics nerd and just can't help speaking economics, but
totally
there's just concepts that people talk about, just the idea of agglomeration. So you buy a car and see if there's other car car dealers there, or there's an actual jewelry district. It's not just one person selling jewelry. So this idea of like agglomeration, or like just consolidating a lot of different activity that's the same around an ecosystem, is really interesting to us. And so we see Forum as a place where there's like, it's really the most active SocialFi ecosystem, comparable maybe like Las Vegas and casinos. So like the ecosystem of Las Vegas has, this like asymmetric advantage with casinos. And so we see Forum having just this asymmetric advantage with SocialFi. And so we'll just be kind of this breeding ground for like new SocialFi innovation. In addition to that, as a chain, you guys are also seeing a lot of the activity around, native yield and all sorts of these concepts. And so we're at the very beginning of thinking through this, and just as a chain, having a certain amount of TVL that can kind of dictate or help accelerate the future of SocialFi specifically as a concept on Form. So all of the kind of meta that's coming together, whether it's points, TVL, native yield, all of that, we're, as a chain, we're able to start supercharging SocialFi in a way that, like, I would say individual applications can't really do.
Okay, very interesting. I like you have some very helpful comparisons, I would say, more than I'm speaking to a lot of people, and sometimes I'll need to try to like ask questions to be like, oh, to get to like the better understanding. So it's very tech related sometimes. Your Vegas comparison was very, very smart. I like that, actually. That helped a lot with the process. I just wanted to throw that out there. Sorry. So continuing on, of course, mentioning obviously the ecosystem with Form. Is there any current particular projects building with Form that you could cover for us today? Anyone exciting that you've been speaking with or that is yet to come that we could learn about?
Yes, there's a very big project that everyone in this call is familiar with and that everyone has used that is coming to Form in a very big way. I'm not quite ready to break the news, but we're working on it and we're very excited. In addition to that very big project, Form has incubated another project called Curves, which you guys will hear about soon, and there'll be many, many incentives to use Curves. Curves is the first instance. You could almost think of Curves like so Curves will be both the protocol that you can build on top of. So you can build an interoperable SocialFi app, and Curves will also be an app. And the Curves app will, I'd say, pretty strongly resemble Friendtech, with the exception that all of the bonding curve tokens you create can convert as quickly as you want into ERC20 tokens. And so at that point, the Duncan tokens that you have, you can withdraw to your MetaMask wallet, you can plug into any app. And that's going to be the first time the space has really seen interoperable SocialFi. And so we're going to have a lot of fun there. And we have a kind of like Warpcast Twitter fork also building on top of Curves. Mm-hmm. So, you guys know the UX UI for, kind of this typical SocialFi app is sort of like, buy someone's token and you'll get in this chat room. Another UI UX is kind of like a Twitter style interface. So these two applications will kind of play together. So yeah, we're very excited about that SocialFi aspect. We tweeted a list of like 25 partners. Some of those partners are on the like native yield side. So we're really excited, just as a chain, we're excited to work with folks like Stakestone, which have just been crushing it, and another protocol called Mountain Protocol, which is an RWA. It's actually a yield-bearing stable based off UST bills. So on the chain side, lots of cool native yield partners and amazing ecosystem decks called Fibonacci you guys will hear about. So
very cool.
Love your SocialFi token with Fibonacci. But yeah, in general, the SocialFi stack is going to get really interesting. And another thing that's exciting, any concept you guys have. So, I'm sure you guys are familiar with like Twitch. So the idea of like thinking of a concept like live streaming and SocialFi. So we're able to do that. And then we're able to like, we'll announce this in a couple months, but we'll have a pretty big grants program. If you guys have any ideas, like, oh, would it be cool if there was a bonding curve for parties? So you can party and like get gains at the same time, or like be on a live stream and like get gains at the same time. So like these are really interesting ideas that we're playing around with, but like we're not going to build it. We're just super excited for folks to come to us and like, kind of help them build in this like new interoperable way.
Yeah, the grants program, funny enough, that was my next thing I was going to ask to go over. So that you beat me to it. But yeah, the idea process when it comes to SocialFi, I think for myself is really exciting. Being a person, I don't know, I feel like I'm someone that does a lot of thinking. And your mentions to streaming, et cetera, for example, being just a really easy one to look at. The bits on Twitch, right? Taking something like that and taking it even further than just, I spend channel points, they do a thing, right? It can go so much farther beyond that. And I don't see why we won't be at that point with something like this down the line, I really don't see a reason why it wouldn't end up that way, right? So it's definitely exciting, I would say, what you guys are doing, because
Yeah.
5 years down the line, who's to say bits aren't an actual social token that Form has made available for me to take out and put on MetaMask, right? Thinking about it that way, that's a really exciting thing I would like to see down the line. And that kind of leads me to my question for you, in the sense of, say, 2030 is 6 years away. What would you like to see in halfway there? I would say, anything in particular that you would like us to be at on this process? Anything exciting that you might want to see come out or appear?
Yeah, for sure. So the exciting thing about SocialFi, and it's something we learned like just coming from like ETH L1 to L2s, it's like the idea of like natively being able to to generate fees off like trading without like the opportunity cost of like contributing ETH to a pool and like doing all that is really important. And so we're really excited about people like monetizing really just off clicking a button and having people buy their token. But this activity is like really based around users. And so you could imagine that there will be social platforms that will come along and in the next couple of years, and they'll need to differentiate from the TikToks and YouTubes and things like that. And they'll do well. There are social platforms that will have 5 million, 10 million users. And they'll want those users to be able to, monetize, and it won't necessarily be on ads or anything like this. And so we're really excited about the concept of like a bonding curve SDK, where a platform can really plug in an SDK, and all of a sudden, when you sign up, you can create a bonding curve, and Form's powering that behind the scenes. And so this is a very clear path for us. So 50 million users is really only all of a sudden 5 platforms with 10 million. So five platforms using that SDK.
Yeah.
And so this is like something we're really, really excited about.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to break it down, honestly. When you look at 50 million, it's a hefty number, I would say. But yeah, if you break it down to 5 specifically, 10 million platforms, et cetera, which is definitely doable for sure. I mean, albeit I think the few social platforms that were like very popular were just like offshoots from Instagram, et cetera. But recently, at least. But I do think that we are in that area in specific in need of a big boost of creativity, and I think that there's a lot of people doing some really fun stuff. It just kind of needs that edge, and I think that the interoperability that you guys can provide can really help in that area as well. When it comes to light, so that's very cool. I like the way you look at that. It really makes something that sounds so kind of crazy seem a lot more feasible. So. But I guess that's part of the goal at the end of the day, right? Especially with crypto. For a long time, I feel we worked really hard to make things complicated, and now we're doing a really good job at making it more simple. So,
yeah, I hope so. Things are still really complicated. There's a lot going on, but hopefully, we could all make it super simple.
Yeah, for myself, I'm not the most super tech oriented when it comes to like the really deep stuff. I do my best to understand. I would say from like a middleman perspective of having an understanding, we've definitely done a better job. And I think you guys have done a good job in particular of explaining kind of what you're doing here, what the difference is, et cetera. I think it's very well put together on the Form platform as well. As we've been chatting, I've also been just kind of glancing over the site as we do. I like to do that as well as we talk. So that's what I would say,
sure.
On a glance on the site. So continuing on, of course, we're chatting with you today. I want to say thank you for taking the time to, work with Galxe and engage your community in these different ways. What would you say right now are kind of the best ways to participate within the Form community? And maybe we could cover, any current Galxe campaigns that users could participate in.
Yeah, so Galxe has just been an incredible partner. Like for everyone listening, so we launched like April 4th. We did like a small teaser campaign that lasted for 1 week. 30,000 people signed up, and like we were just overwhelmed. And everyone was just super engaging, and we were able to like build a community. When I say build a community, I don't like just mean on Twitter or something, like, across like Telegram, thousands and thousands of users on Telegram, Discord, just so many places. So we're really able to kickstart a community, and we also have like the role community, which is around 150,000 folks. But like it was really cool to just kickstart the community from Galxe. So I'd say like anyone thinking about starting an application, chain, anything, like Galxe is like an amazing place to start. And we're super excited to build our relationship with you guys. Definitely look out for our next campaign. So it's gonna come out pretty soon, and we'll start to introduce all the stuff we're talking about. You guys will be able to, get Galxe points for like, bridging to form, using some of the protocols we talked about. And this will really be for the next couple months up until our road to mainnet. So keep an eye out, and we're super excited.
Very cool. And yeah, thank you for the kind words as well. I'm glad you guys have had a really positive process. It's tough. I think it's, back looking to the early days, it was so difficult to find a way to funnel users to, explore and experience a product. And I think that, we've kind of built this almost ecosystem of users that are just consistently seeking out new projects to participate, albeit there is a good portion that, are interested in obviously the monetary value of trying out these new projects. But I think at the same time, that initial point of a user being like, oh, well, maybe I'll check this out, maybe I can earn something. They learn, they experience, they think it's very cool, they stick around, right? And I think that finding the many different ways, including that, to access these users, will help, I think, many social communities as well overall in the future. So, obviously, we provide the tools, you guys provide the product. At the end of the day, you guys are what keep them, right? So, but yeah, it's definitely a fun process. From my position with the community, I get to see kind of everybody coming back to us at the same time. Like I participated here, I did this. It's all very interesting.
Yeah,
I would say Discord in particular is kind of the place for the more crypto communities,
right.
but yeah, it's nice to see it and grow. And I'm curious, you said road to mainnet, is that looking like a specific schedule or time frame you guys were looking at when it came to that, as well as in that process?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'd say so some of the really important partners so far have been like Celestia. So for those that don't know, Celestia is an alternative data availability layer, and so they have a modular blockchain, and basically allow us to have like even lower fees than the average L2. So integrating them has been super cool. And there's another amazing partner called Layer Zero. Layer Zero is an interoperability layer, and they've invented this OFT standards, Omni-Chain Fungible Token. So we're just finishing integrating with them. So it'll allow a lot of really, really cool new tokens to come to form. And so, once we're on the other side of that, we just want to introduce a bunch of protocols and dApps to you guys. And then stay tuned for our yield campaign, and also stay tuned, participate in the Galxe campaigns, because a lot of the Galxe campaign activity is going to transition into what we'll call form points, which will transition into form tokens. So some of the valuable on-chain activity that you guys are doing there, make sure to keep that up. But you could expect a mainnet announcement in terms of a date somewhat soon, but realistically, it'll be a bit later in the quarter.
Of course, no. Always got to ask, right? Got to probe for that alpha for the listeners. That did actually kind of answer my next question as well. I was curious on around where and when you're kind of looking at form token. As you mentioned, do you guys currently kind of have public the information on like utility of the token, et cetera? Any ideas around that you could share with the listeners today?
No, I think you could expect just a benchmark path to decentralizing form, which will be decentralizing SocialFi. Actually, I'm sure you guys know, but like there's no like standard SocialFi token that's like out right now.
Yeah.
And obviously there's no like standard SocialFi chain token that's out. So we could have the opportunity to capture both of those. And so the future of that would really be up to you guys. So some ideas are like being able to determine fees that go to the protocol or the chain. Decentralizing sequencer fees is really interesting. So all this is going to be determined by users. It's our job just to, really get there and accelerate the path. So everyone involved, we really appreciate everything you guys have done so far. And we really hope to be the best stewards of the chain that we can and make all of you guys contributors as we evolve SocialFi later in the year.
Very exciting. I know many of our contributors are very active in participating in a lot of different areas of governance. So I'm sure some of our, power users will hop over there and participate. That'd be very fun. I love seeing that. I love seeing it all come together. The governance process is very interesting. So I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, we're taking notes from you guys. I just saw an update about a token migration.
Yeah,
so super cool to see.
Yeah, it's a fun process. It's very interesting. A lot of the time, it's very positive. Recently, I would say when it's around different community programs, and then I would say a big portion you definitely got to get used to is like there's sometimes it's just immediately kind of very negative, and then after a little bit it'll calm down, and then you'll kind of get the people that are, instead of reacting kind of like in a more reactive way, there's a lot more like thought and discussion. And kind of once you hit those points, it's such an interesting process to see come to life. We've had quite a few proposals in the process come from community members that want to, build for an example, we had a extension for tracking participation in different like airdrop campaigns, et cetera. That was really cool that we saw go to full realization is being built right now. So it's so fun.
Amazing. Yeah, we'll have to continue to take notes there.
Of course, yeah. I just want to say at the end of the day now, thank you for joining us, taking the time. I appreciate you, joining me, listening in, everybody. And thank you, Bradley, for going over Form, what you guys are up to, kind of how the future is going to look and the different processes. I just want to say thank you for that. Do you have any final words for everybody listening today?
Yeah. I just want to say hats off to Galxe. Like, as kind of someone that's been around for a while, I literally saw this whole quest to earn space like evolve from like super early projects, things like Rabbit Hole and just different things that were around. And you guys have like really planted your flag, and I'd say have like very clearly won the category. You guys are the best. I don't know if you call it quest to earn or credential network, but you guys have created kind of the best platform to kind of build community. So real kudos there and hats off.
Thank you. I appreciate that greatly. We recently kind of switched up the kind of branding and funnel. So we have Galxe Quest, we have Galxe Identity, Galxe Passport, Galxe Score, and Alva app, which is the AI kind of partner as well. So we are, nice. We're making different moves, of course. So I appreciate that. And everybody, make sure you hop over to participate in forms campaigns on Galxe. Get involved. I know that's what you guys love to do. So thank you very much. Appreciate you all for listening. Thank you again, Bradley. Thank you for the kind words, and we will all see you next time.
Thanks, guys.